Hey guys, so Thanksgiving is tomorrow, and I am making 4 pies. I am going to start with one of the easier pies and one that I've actually made before. And I'm going to, open up one of these guys here. This is one of our frozen store-bought pie crusts. So what I'm going to do right now is, this is probably one of the simplest recipes that I have. And so what we're gonna do is take 4 cups of blueberries. I bought frozen blueberries because I just like buying them and throwing them in smoothies. It just made more sense to buy a really big bag. So I'm actually gonna dump this in a bowl of 4 cups. It's one little guy. I just wouldn't make it here. And then to this, I'm going to add 3/4 cups of sugar. I actually do a little bit less on the sugar, just because sometimes people will have the blueberry pie with like whipped cream or with ice cream or you know, a ton of other sweets that hit the table. So I do go a little bit back on it, but so maybe about 2/3 to 3/4. There's 3 tablespoons of cornstarch, and that's really what makes everything super thick. A 1/2 teaspoon of cinnamon and a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. So you just kind of sprinkle this on and let all that kind of go together. I do like to clean sort of as I go. Although I have a ton of bowls to work with, for some reason I feel like I just end up, you know, rinsing and keep going. This is pie 1 of 4, and like I said, it's probably one of my simplest and easiest ones to make. There's really nothing else involved, and what I really like about this is you can actually let this sit and you'll see everything kind of like get all juicy and condensed together. So you just kind of need to mix all of it in. Make sure you get it all together. A lot of that goodness starts to sink to the bottom. They kind of look like puppy chow. What is that people like to make? Some type of chow. So we have a good mix going here. It won't all coat, which is okay, but that's what kind of the goal is. And these are frozen, so you kind of want to let them get a little bit to room temperature and whatnot. So what I am going to do is, this is also frozen as well, but what I'm going to do is actually let this sit in here for a little bit before I dump it in here. So I will be back. I'm going to start cutting up some of the apples for the apple pie. We have 6 apples to cut and core and chop up, and that'll be the next one. I'm starting with the fruit mainly because the fruit, you know, I feel like tends to bubble and be really hot, and even when you take it out of the oven, it needs probably a good hour or 2 to cool. I am actually bringing this over to a friend's house tonight, so I kind of need them to be super cool for me to package and stick in her fridge for the night. So I will be back. You will see me chopping a ton of apples in the next few minutes. So we are going to chop up some of these apples, but the first thing I need to do is I need to core them or peel them. So we're gonna be, I promise you I'm not gonna have you sit through all of this. I will fast forward. But you do need 6 apples. Now, a lot of people do ask me, what do I, you know, what do I do when it comes to like the apple pie? This is the recipe. This is it. I don't necessarily deviate so much from it. Depending on the crowd, and if it's my parents, for example, I will add a little bit more nutmeg or cinnamon. But if it's a crowd I'm not really too familiar with, I kind of don't deviate from here. I also don't make my own crust. Again, I am making 4 pies. If it was just maybe 1 or 2, I would probably go into doing my own pies, but this, you don't need to deviate from here. So if it's your first time making a pie, stick to this. So let's go ahead and get this peeled. Use this guy here to catch all my peels. And I've gone pretty quick. I don't get all the skin. You know, I do try to get most of the skin, but I'm pretty quick about it. When I first started making these pies, I'm like, oh my God, you know, peeling is forever. And I used to get, you know, it used to take me forever with it. And now I'm just kind of whipping through. But again, the fruit pies I feel like do take the longest, just mainly because of the preparing of it all, and then also the letting it cool to room temperature before packaging it. So we've got this guy done. I'll move it over here. And you do need to work a little fast because apples do tend to brown really quickly, which I don't love, but you do add lemon juice to the mixture here. So, you know, again, you don't really need to deviate from it. I do love Granny Smith apples when it comes to apple pie. I think they just last, they hold. I don't really love any other type of apples. There's these, there's a, you know, people like to go apple picking in the fall to make their pies and things like that. Typically they're in season in September. And the first time, you know, I grew up in a very urban environment, so moving to the suburbs, it was like, wow, people really go out and do these things, and a little new to me. But I was so beyond surprised with the amount, all the different types of apples, like over 20 apples I saw, and I was like, wow, this is insane. I thought there were like 6. So this is an ugly one. I'm actually gonna cut this part out. I don't love that. That's gotta be discarded. You know, everyone was grabbing apples, so I'm surprised that I ended up catching that one not so good. These are also pretty big, so the recipe calls for 6 Granny Smith apples. And the recipe does call for 6, but these are like ginormous. So, it's totally fine. You know, if I end up not using all the 6, you know, I can always, you know, mash it up, you know, stick it in a blender, stick it in a smoothie, put it in my oatmeal. So, you know, don't ever feel like, oh man, like I wasted these apples. You didn't. But going back to the amount of different types of apples at the orchard, what I did find was years ago, my mom had bought these apples called Red Delicious, you know, and I thought, is she just calling them Red Delicious, or, you know, is the store calling them Red Delicious as like a marketing thing? That's the name of the apple. And I ended up actually breaking out all over my mouth. And I think it was just something, either the wax or the skin, I don't know what it was, but not a great reaction. So I was really off of apples for a while. I was like, no. And then I had a Granny Smith, and I'm like, well, this is cool, you know, and I just ended up sticking to it. I do like apple and peanut butter, or like apple and almond butter. Sometimes I'll drizzle just some cinnamon on here, and you know, it's a good snack. I do keep the skin on, but I typically don't just tear into it. You know, I don't just stick my teeth into it. I do still cut it up into slices because I'm typically working and snacking at the same time. So I like to make it a little easier for me, I guess. If I'm on the go and I've packed an apple, obviously I'm just gonna eat it whole, but that's you know, that's my jam. So I am gonna finish coring, slicing these up. I keep using the term coring and I'm pretty sure I'm using it wrong, but I am peeling right now, and then I will chop them up and I will be back shortly. So we are back. Here's what I did. All of the apples are now sliced up. I like to do kind of this size, a little bit, like you could see a little bit through it, but I feel like this is kind of the way I've always made it. Why change it? So that is 6 apples. To this, we're adding, where is my recipe box? So there's lemon juice in here, nutmeg, cinnamon, salt, and 2 tablespoons of all-purpose flour. So we're gonna mix that into the apples now. Let me grab a really good spatula here. There we go. Put this here for a second, and you're just gonna mix it. Let me move this over here for a second, as you can see. So you're just kind of making sure everything gets like coated basically. When you add the lemon juice to that mixture, it does clump up. So you kind of need, and I kind of like that it clumps up because the clumpiness actually helps like bring it all together. So I do like that. And just kind of checking to make sure everything gets coated properly. It might not seem like a lot, but it does go a really long way, I promise you. It does go a long way. Ah, man down. I know it seems like I'm stabbing at it, and I kind of am, just to break up that clumpiness. And get to the bottom because it kind of sunk to the bottom there, and just keep turning it over. Looks like it's all pretty coated on this end here. Let me keep going. I've never had a question asked about, you know, any alternatives that I decide to do. I would say you definitely want to add the lemon juice. I do like a little bit more of a tarty applesauce. Some people don't have that preference. If you are not keen on doing sugar, you're trying to be a little bit more mindful, you could definitely alternate between sugar or brown sugar even, and honey, of course. That's always a plus here. All right, everything looks really good. It's a big cinnamon piece there. All right, here's what it looks like now. I'm gonna move this here, and what I want to do is, you have the dough, and you really need to be super careful about it. You do want to take it out of the fridge. I have a little bit of all-purpose flour here that I'm going to sprinkle just on some parchment and the rolling pin. And you do want to roll it out just a bit. And what I like to do, even though it is perfect for you to do, so if you're in a rush and you're just like, oh, I don't want to take these extra steps, you don't have to. It's already big enough to fit the pie. The entire pie. I just like to roll it out just a little bit to help me. And the edge of it, sometimes it stays curled and like it doesn't make a full circle. So I like to just push it out a little bit and get that area to be a little bit smooth. And that way, anything excess that you have, you can even make a little design if your little heart desires to. So that looks good. Okay, so now I'm gonna open up my pie plate here. In case you are wondering what pie plate I'm using, I actually did between ShopRite store-bought and then the pie crust deep dish. I will say the deep dish, the deep dish store-bought, not so deep. Didn't really love that. So let's go ahead and start scooping in our apple pie and take some time with it and kind of make sure it's all like leveled out. This is where you're gonna realize, are all my apples gonna fit or no? For the most part, you have to remember this will melt down, right? Or, you know, cook down, I guess you could say. Wow, I feel like I'm in a little bit of a rush here. I have all night, so I'm not sure why I'm rushing, but let me pause here for just a second because I'm losing grip on the bowl. Let's go ahead and just kind of flatten these out into these little sections here. And if the edges are circled, you know, circle it around like these guys here. They're not really. And I am pushing it down a little bit. I am pushing this down just a little bit to make them all fit. You guys are all gonna fit. I am going to make sure that you guys all fit. Now I'm just gonna do scooping by hand because that bowl is really heavy and I don't need to lift anymore today. So I'm kind of tackling some of the nooks and crannies in here. You can kind of see. Some people get really fancy and they like layer everything piece by piece. I'm not that fancy. And it will go over, and that's still okay. I actually love when it does that. And I'm making a little mound here. That's okay. So, all right. I'm actually going to stop here. And not too bad. I could if I wanted to make this much fit, but I'm gonna hold off and save these guys for another time. That's okay. Let me rinse my hands. I've also been drinking this coffee. I've probably reheated it about 4 times. One black and then added some milk, reheated, forgot about it, reheated again, and now it's just at room temperature. Still delicious. Okay, now let's go ahead and get our, I'm gonna move it right onto this parchment piece of paper, because this parchment is gonna go in the oven. I'm going straight down. Oh, come on, little guy, get in there. Okay. You do have the flour side up, and that's okay. So what I'm gonna do is just try to match the pie top with what the design, like the little divots that are already created in the Pillsbury crust. It's not going to be perfect. That's okay. Nobody's perfect. Neither is pie. This pie could fall apart. And guess what? You guys are all still gonna eat it. So keep going around and around and around. And be careful not to. So this part right here, I'm probably gonna need to add a little bit on because I just dinged it with my nail, and that's okay. So now what I'm going to do is get this guy and just get all the excess off. You just want to use the edge of the pie and just match your pie cutter or pizza cutter right against it, and you'll have a lot of excess because we stretched it out a little bit. I don't even know if that's something you're supposed to do. If you know, Pillsbury is gonna find me for doing that, I don't know. Please don't. I'm making this video so somebody can see how unnecessarily talented I am. And maybe pay me some endorsements. It's hard out here. Okay, so I think we got it all. There we go. We just gave our apple pie a skin surgery. Anyway, okay, so what we need to do is make a couple of slits. This is something I'm not that great at, to be quite honest. So I'm actually just gonna make a cross down in here, just so some air can come out. And that's probably gonna be it for me. Just again, because I'm just not good at the design part when it comes to pies. I see so many people do so many amazing things with their pies, and I'm just not that great at it. I'm doing a couple of slits just on, and I'm not actually even piercing through the top as much. Like, it will open up a little bit, but I'm not going all the way through where I can see the pie filling. So I'm just going maybe about 1.5 inches apart, and keep turning it here. Keep turning this little guy. Keep turning it. I missed that part there. Here. And one more. All right. Now, what we need to do is go back to our blueberry pie. So I will be right back with that. I'm going to move this whole guy because, again, like I said, the parchment is going to go, and I'm going to put this on a baking sheet. So I will be right back. Okay, so now we're back with the blueberry pie, and what we're going to do is pretty much the same thing that we did with the crust and topping here, the top of the pie. And I'm just gonna sprinkle a little bit of flour down here, a little bit of flour back on my, just drop my pen, I hope I don't step on it, back on the rolling pin, and we're going to slowly open this guy up. So you see this part, I don't love it, but we're gonna remedy that. I have also started the oven. It's preheating right now. And let's quickly roll this guy out. And we're gonna do a little bit of a design with this. I haven't made blueberry pie in a really long time. So I'm hoping I remember how to do that, that like lattice, or whatever cross thing that they say to do. And I do love how it comes out, but I'm just not too confident in it right now. So, okay. I'm gonna actually use my pie cutter, and we're gonna actually move this guy over so you guys can see. I'm going to go down the middle as best I can. And then I'm going to just eyeball it a little bit, going about less than 1 inch, and keep going from side to side. I want to get maybe about 8, because it's about a 9-inch pie round. One of the times I remember making this, I ended up not using some of the middle pieces because the ends I needed more, and that's fine. So how many do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I got 10. Let me actually hold here for a second. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead, fill this up. I'm gonna do this off camera because I've run out of space. I will try to move this over to hopefully you can see the amount of bowls I have going. All right. as you can also see, the sugar and everything kind of just all started to like really get going. There's a lot more sugar at the bottom, but that's okay. You'll be totally fine with that. There we go. Same thing, keep patting it down, get every single nook and cranny. I might end up having to go straight to my hands again. I am kind of mashing it down. Okay. Now there's a lot happening here at the bottom. I am gonna add some of this, not all of it. Just give me a second to sort this out a little bit, because you don't want all of this to be all in the middle. Kind of need to shake up some of this goodness. Okay. And here we go. Okay, so we got some of it in the middle. What I'm gonna do is some of this, I'm just gonna sprinkle some of this in some of the little areas here that we didn't get. And there we go. Not too much left. Okay. So then everybody is kosher. Now let's start to, if I remember how to do this, I want to say we start here and we kind of just follow it exactly the way that it was. Whoa. Actually, let's use this guy here. Lay this one here. And let's use this guy. So as you can see, I'm not using all of the pieces. But now I'm gonna go sideways, right? So I need to lift this one up. There goes the oven. I need to lift this one up, bring it over, and then we're gonna lift this guy up, bring it over, and then this guy will come this way. All right, I did remember. Amazing. Okay. What I am worried about though is I might actually, let's see. Okay. Let's go this way now, and we're gonna go under. Nope, that's wrong. We're gonna go over, then under. Here we go. Over, and now it's already under. Okay. We should be, so now what we're gonna need to do is I'm gonna actually stretch this guy out with the rolling pin, just a little bit. There we go. Not perfect, but that's okay. I'll stretch these out a little bit, and I'm gonna stretch this one out a little bit too. Okay. All right, now we are going, where are we going? We are going under and over and under. Amazing. And now I think we're gonna get, yep. I will move some of these down so that I can use this guy here. So what are we doing now? We are over, we're gonna go under, over. And I think that's good. I want it to kind of close the seal here, so we'll do that. And let's move some of these down a little bit. And then let's move some of these down. And I'm actually going to, whoa. And then here we go. Perfect. Oh my God. Oh my God, this looks so good. Oh, I'm so happy. So relieved. Okay, so this was over. So we're gonna be under here and we're gonna go over here and under. Yeah, there we go. What a relief. Okay, I was a little worried it wasn't gonna work out. I just don't like this guy here because it's a little bit too much of this, but that's okay. So I'm gonna just push down on the edges, and then what that will do is it'll actually help me cut the excess pie off. And I do want to remind you guys, even though I crumbled this little guy up here, it's extra. If I needed to use it, I could here, and I might. I don't know if I've decided to do any type of design yet. We'll see. So let's just keep pushing these guys down so that I can get a good crust here. Okay. So we're gonna use our pie cutter. I will say also this pie cutter is, I think, maybe older than me, if not almost the same age as me. It belonged to my mom and dad, and I actually have a couple of things from my parents that I still use. There was an Indian silver spatula that I guess my mom had a set of, and when my sister was here last time, she was like, "Where did you get this?" I said, "I got it from Mom." And you know, I guess when she was visiting, she's like, "I was looking all over for this." And I said, "Well, I have it." So I do like to hold on to things like that, and I think that that's really the part that really makes your home, and little reminders as well. My family wasn't super big on Christmas, just religiously. It wasn't, you know, a thing for, you know, us, but, you know, having lived in this country and being born in this country, I think my family has definitely adapted to celebrating Christmas and, you know, doing things like that. Thanksgiving is one of my favorite holidays, and I have an aunt who, you know, always went all out when I was a kid for Thanksgiving, and I think that's actually one of the reasons why Thanksgiving is such a you know, a favorite holiday of mine, because it was really a time where we were all together, and she would just go all out, you know, all out. And she actually used to make, and I'm sure she still does, she used to make these cheese tarts, and I did master it. I found the recipe and I did master it, and it's just interesting to see, like, her kids, my cousins, still continue those type of traditions in their homes as well. So we're on pie number 3 of 4, and I'm gonna go ahead and start getting to the scooping of what we need. So, fun fact, as much as I love Thanksgiving, I've never actually made pumpkin pie. So I'm actually really excited. And this is one pie I would probably take a little taste of just to see how it goes. So into my mixing bowl, I am putting, let's bring this down a little bit. I know my head's cut off, but that's fine. I'm putting in 1 full can of the Libby's pie filling, pure pumpkin. I'm following the instructions on the back here. So it's 1 can of this. I guess this is also why I like Thanksgiving, you know, it's so simple to just follow a recipe. So what you hear in the background, it is Big Bang Theory. I am a Big Bang Theory fan. I've been on watching HBO Max, a lot of the same shows, just kind of helps with my anxiety, I guess. And I live alone, so I need noise. So I've emptied the can out. We're gonna go ahead and put this here. following the recipe, I've added the sugar, the ginger, the ground cloves, the salt. I'm not a big I love sweets, but I did scale back a little bit on the sugar, mainly because, again, as I said, a lot of people do end up, you know, having this with ice cream and things like that. To this, I'm also going to add the evaporated milk, and that's 1 can. And then I'm also going to add the 2 eggs. Make sure I didn't get any shells. Cool. And 1 more. Go ahead and dump all that in there. Give the hand a little quick rinse. And I'm actually gonna take this out here and with that, I'm gonna use my hand mixer and get this all blended up. It already smells so good. Like, so amazing. Start low before you start whipping it up because it will splatter. I considered using my stand mixer for this, but it's a very liquidy pie. There's no flour to this, so I kind of was like, oh, I can do this with the hand mixer. If I put it in the stand mixer, you know, kind of set it and forgot it, I feel like it would just start to, you know, spatter, and I didn't want to do that. So I also like to turn the bowl because some of the spices are like clumped up. This is just to get all the spice clumps out that I'm seeing. And we have splatter. Okay, let me go ahead and stop that. And I need to reset my timer because it didn't actually set properly. Okay. So I'm actually going to give this just a slight taste. Amazing. Okay. So I'm actually going to put it in this pie pan. I have one more deep dish left, and what I also am going to do, the reason why I'm not using the other one, although it's a deeper one, is because for the coconut cream pie, I actually need to go over it with whipped cream. So I kind of need the depth in there. But I'm going to go ahead and pour this guy in as carefully as possible. Get it filled all the way to the top. There we go. Now, I am a little disappointed. I didn't get to do the whole thing, but that's okay. So I'm going to move this to a baking sheet and get it ready to go into the oven. The last pie that we're working on is a coconut cream pie. I hear it's my friend's dad's favorite. So another new pie that I'm making. I'm very excited for it. And I will be back. Okay, so we are working on the last pie, and that's coconut cream pie. And I am going to add the recipe, which is 3 cups of half and half, 3/4 of sugar, a teaspoon of vanilla, a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, 2 eggs, and 1/2 cup of flour. So I'm gonna do the liquids first. I'm gonna add that right into here. And I should have realized that I need 1 second. The spatula was used to toast the coconuts anyway, so I'm sure it's fine. All right, got all that sugar in here. This is another pie first time making. And you can't really see over my stove, but I'm gonna do my best to kind of give whatever I can with this. So I've given this a stir, but I'm gonna need a whisk, and the reason I need the whisk is because I've got eggs in there. So I like this short whisk here. I'm gonna whisk this up. It's gonna get all thick and going. I do have the pie crust in the oven. So we need the pie crust to toast, kind of cook itself and cool, and then we're gonna go ahead and add this in. So I will be back. So a couple of things happened. I did start the coconut cream pie. Let me just move this back a little bit so you can see my bowl here. And this was the first time making it. In terms of taste, I did take a little taste of it. Not super coconutty, it's definitely a custard. What I didn't like was the flour clumped a lot. So I ended up using my immersion blender. And one of the mistakes I made was adding the vanilla to the saucepan, which I wasn't supposed to do. So I added just a little bit more vanilla, and I got my immersion blender out just to get a lot of the clumps out. Now I am adding the toasted coconut. The recipe does give instructions to, sorry, just making sure my pumpkin pie is good. The recipe does give instructions to toast on a baking sheet, but I actually like doing it in the saucepan. It's so fast. You can watch it and whatnot. And I actually am gonna do, I did a cup and I have this much left. So what I might do is, it looks like this is pretty solid. So I'm gonna go ahead and get my already cooled pie crust and get this in there. So I will be back in just a second. So this is my already cooked pie crust, and I'm gonna go ahead and actually not add it. This is still pretty hot at the bottom, so I'm going to hold off. I will be cleaning up, getting that pumpkin pie in, and my apple and blueberry pie. You can take a look over here. Are done and done. So those guys are gonna cool, and I'm gonna go ahead and wrap those up, let them cool. I'll wrap them up to transport over. It looks like some of the blueberry did kind of creep in, so I do wanna get it off the stove into a better cooling place. I might actually open my window door there to cool off the place, and I will be back. So it's about an hour later. I've had dinner. My pumpkin pie, I've actually just closed up. I'm not reopening it. Getting it ready for transport. This is my already made crust. I unfortunately lost a little bit of the crust. I was toasting the coconut on the stove. I wanted to make a little bit more of the coconut, and yep, lost a little bit. But we're gonna go ahead and fill this guy up with the coconut cream custard, which is right here. And I'm just gonna toss it in. I did need it for it to cool a little bit. I was gonna try to cool it. I was trying to fill it earlier, but I'm actually glad I waited and let it cool completely. So I'm gonna go ahead and sort of dump this in slowly because I just don't want to lose any more of the crust. I'm really afraid of that. I don't love this crust, I will be honest. I hate the fact that it kind of broke on me. So there's that. And let me just try to move the camera back a little bit so you can see the filling of it all. So this is the first time making this, and I am actually really happy with the way it came out. I just didn't like that the flour did clump, and then I had to use the immersion blender and all of that. So you have to figure out a way to maybe toss in the flour, maybe sift it in, or do it little by little. Not exactly sure. And then obviously that vanilla that I ended up, you know, having to add a little bit of extra vanilla after because I felt like it kind of cooked off. All right, so let's move this down into the sink. I'm just gonna smooth this out now. And I do like to not just go back and forth. I like to do little circles, I guess, to kind of help push things out. I don't know if that's the right way to do it, but I don't like going super like, oh, let me go across. So I'm gonna try to fill a little bit of that area that lost the crust. So disappointing. I'm gonna flatten this out a little bit, and then I would typically make whipped cream, but because this isn't going to be served until tomorrow night pretty much, I didn't really want to take the chance with homemade whipped cream. It doesn't stabilize for me. I know there's a lot of things that you can do to stabilize, but I'm just not going to bother doing that. So this is our coconut custard. It looks so good, so excited. And I'm gonna just be right back and get the whipped cream. So I ended up grabbing reduced fat. Not exactly what I had hoped to get, but it's absolutely fine. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab this clean spatula, and I did take this out. I had done all my grocery shopping on Saturday. It's now Wednesday night, the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, and I just wanted to make sure that I got everything that I needed and left myself a little bit of time in case I forgot something. So I am kind of tossing it here a little bit. The middle part is still a little bit frozen, and it's not going to help me spread the whipped cream that well, so I'm just trying to break it up a little bit. But I did take it out maybe about an hour ago from the freezer, and I am going to finish this out instead of waiting for tomorrow or anything, because again, I am transporting this over tonight. A little bit nervous about that transport, but thankfully it's only a 5-minute drive. All right, so I'm still trying to get it like smooth, smoothed out. And I did just finish eating dinner. I've not flossed or need to actually drink some more water as well. And I will get to that. So if I smile and there's stuff in my teeth, oh well. All right. So I'm gonna dollop this a little bit in specific areas, and then that might make it a little easier for me to spread. I am going to use this whole container on this because I want to. So I'm gonna bring this all the way to the edge. And let me just bring this guy a little bit over. It's a really funny episode of Big Bang Theory here. In case this isn't enough, I do have another container that I had opened, and there's still a good amount left in there. I am hoping I don't have to, but just might. Oh, right. I actually might be okay. It looks like I will make it. We're gonna cover up this little place that we didn't end up not getting some of that crust. Or we lost some of that crust. Oh, we're losing it. Okay, looking good. Looking so good. All right, I actually have a good amount left in here too, which I am gonna top in some of the areas that it's a little gapped. Okay. Okay, looks good. Okay. So we've got the whipped cream. I'm gonna toss it with the toasted extra coconut. And then the way I'm gonna wrap this is I'm actually gonna go above because I don't want the decor to get messed up. And I'm gonna throw that in there. And this is the rest of the toasted coconut. Not all of them toasted. I did like a light one. I'm just kind of scrunching it now. And that's the toasted coconut. This smells amazing, by the way. So I'm gonna actually start going around first the edges. I want to just see how that looks in terms of like decorum. And then this looks pretty festive, but I think I'm gonna do the whole pie. I don't know. It does look really pretty this way, but I think I am gonna go ahead and just tackle the whole pie. Now, yeah, let's get all in there. What I did do is I kept it in the baking sheet to avoid any spills on the floor because I did sweep, and I am trying not to make that big of a mess again. Okay, so what we're gonna do, I'm gonna move this over just for a second. Make sure my workstation is pretty clean. We're pretty okay. I'm gonna lay this guy down this way. And then I'm gonna also go across this way. We're gonna add a little bit of counter space in the room, but we are okay. Let me just wipe my hands here. Okay. Whoa. Now, I have another piece of foil, as you can see, at the bottom, and I'm actually gonna use it to help me move the pie so I don't have to touch the crust. I'm trying really hard to hold on to what's left of the crust. Now we're gonna go up this way, and we're gonna just fold these guys in here, like that. The ends, and then this will fold over here, and then just tuck in the sides, and tuck in the sides here. Okay, and then here. Okay, now what I'm gonna do is just bring this one up to the top corner, and then bring this up to the top corner as well. And that's gonna make sort of like a boat situation. It's not gonna be super tight, and that's okay. You just want it to hold. Okay? Same goes here. We're gonna tuck it and tuck it. Come on and tuck. Okay. Now we're gonna bring this up here. I'm going to tuck this side in as well. Okay, should be okay. All right, now this pie is ready for transport.